Hello and welcome to the Spider-Man limited set review. In this video, I will be discussing all the cards for the Spider-Man limited format. This is going to be known as Through the Emin Paths for arena purposes. I'm using the Spider-Man cards for this. I don't know, it's just kind of what I wanted to do. There will be equivalent versions on Arena that have different names but the same text box as far as I know. So, with that in mind, if you have not been here for one of my set reviews before, and even if you have, the tiers have changed a little bit. I have attempted to shift them to more accurately reflect how I actually feel about what they represent. Essentially, they are designed with where I expect to pick cards in mind more so than absolute card power level, because absolute card power level is really only a thing that matters in sealed, and sealed is sort of its own beast. This is more of a draft focused set review, but it does generally apply to sealed as well. Tier 1 is the best, Tier 5 is the worst. You can see sort of a pick overview of how where I would expect to take cards in a given pack. It's not an exact science. Stuff goes late, stuff goes early. We're applying numbers to human behavior. It's never going to be perfect. Um, if you like set reviews like this, if you like other limited content on the channel, please feel free to subscribe and stick around. With that, we are going to get started with Aranya maybe? Heart of the Spider. 1 red white for a 3/3. When you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So, really the part of the card that I like is not necessarily the second part of the card. It's more so, hey, on turn 3, you're getting a 3/3 that makes your 2-drop attack past your opponent's 2-drop a lot. That's pretty good. Like, that's just already a really good thing. In theory, you can on turn like 5 play this, or even on turn 4, you could have play this and then hit a land sometimes, like off of it and then play the land. There's just a lot of things that this does. Tier 1's maybe a little aggressive. It is a multicolored card, but I mean, you're going to be pack 1 pick 1 this, I think. It's sort of easy to do. Blue-white is more of a modified part of the color balance in this set. Like, red-white is not really as modified focused as blue-white, so this is kind of its own thing, but you're getting a counter immediately. This just seems very strong. Bioorganic Carapace. 2 white blue for an equipment. When it enters, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card for each modified creature you control, and it has equipped for 2. So it will always draw at least one card because the equipment is a modification. This is a very powerful card, right? The best case scenario, which is going to actually happen, like, I don't know, somewhere around 40% of the time, or I guess you're at, like, I don't know, what's the average case scenario with this is you play it, you attack with your 3-drop, you get to draw a card, or your opponent's jumping, and then they remove it, your creature, and then you have this equipment that equips for only 2 to give +2/+2 is really, like, pretty good, actually. That's a better rate than you usually get on these. The only thing keeping it out of tier 1 is it is just a thing that does not impact the board by itself. Like, you need to have a creature in play, and it just does nothing sometimes. That's really bad. Obviously, when it does anything, it's very, very strong. It works really well in the deck that it's playing in. It's more fun than this card. I mean, they're both pretty fun, to be honest with you. Like, fun scale, like, that's a thing that matters. Not really. I don't know. It's it is more expensive. Like, it is 4 mana. I'm kind of getting nitpicky here, but it's obviously a good card. There's actually a way to tutor for it, which I think we'll see in either the blue, white, or this part of the set review. I forget, but we'll get there at some point. Carnage, Crimson, Chaos. 2 red, black for a 4/3 with trample. When it enters, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains this creature attacks each combat if able, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. That is Mayhem for a red and a black. So I want to talk about Mayhem, and this is where I'm going to do it, even though we'll get to the signpost uncommon in the future. Mayhem is going to be a mechanic that is kind of it can't really ever be the best thing in a format for sustainably, because it needs so much support, like you need so much help discarding stuff, that all of the enablers just become so premium whenever you're doing red black stuff. The enablers are there's one or two I really like, and we'll get to one of them in this particular part of the set review. And there's some that I'm like, do I like this? Not really. My expectations are a little bit down on Mayhem because of how finicky it can be to get it to work. Now, obviously, with this one, you're getting a 2 mana 4/3. That's great, cool. I just kind of think you're never really getting all of the parts of this card. Like you're like, okay, well I play this and then I get a thing back and then it attacks and then dies again. Like so, if you have something with an ETB, it's great. But if I have nothing in my graveyard, I still probably want to mayhem this out because then I'm getting a 4/3 for 2. So it's like it's kind of never really getting all of the things. And this just to me seems not really like something I want to be first picking. And that's kind of the distinction between tier 2 and tier 3 if you're like thinking about it is tier 2 is something I'm okay first picking, I'd be reasonably happy with it. I starting off in the format, I'm like, I don't know if I'd first pick this. Tier 1 is like I'm almost always first picking it is tier 1. And then tier 2 is like I would first pick this like 50% of the time that it's in a pack ish, something like that, something in that range. This is kind of like I'm first picking this if I'm sad, if I'm not happy, but it could happen. Cheering Crowd. Single colorless and a red-green hybrid for a 2/2. At the beginning of each player's first main phase, that player may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. If they do, they add a colorless mana for each counter on it. Yeah, I mean, this just seems largely solid. Like, the thing is, right, so you play this on 2, your opponent could make it a 3/3 and then spend 3 mana, right? But then if they do that and don't kill this, which I think is not a scenario that happens all that often, you are getting to spend 4 mana on or 5 mana on turn 3, which is really sick. So I don't think like realistically either your opponent is going to kill this on turn 3 or you're going to get to um like you're going to get to you're only going to get 1 mana per turn, but that's still pretty good. You're getting a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a 3/3 attacks as a 3/3 on turn 4. I mean, this thing just seems very strong. I honestly think I should just move it higher. It does. It is like just like a vanilla creature. You know what I mean? Kind of on the battlefield. It's just kind of sitting there. It doesn't have the spider type. It's kind of weird that it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. There, like it's. I could just move this up because of flexibility and the fact that it's a 2-drop. I always, anytime you give your opponent the ability to do something, like with mana, I'm kind of like, I don't know about that, but I don't know. It's, it is a 2-drop that they basically have to kill, and it goes in like almost every deck. So I am actually going to move it up. It's an aggressive move, and I may come to regret this, but I'm doing it. Cosmic Spider-Man. Wooburg for a 5/5 with flying first strike, trample lifelink, and haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, other spiders you control gain flying first strike, trample lifelink, and haste until end of turn. This certainly looks worth it to me. This looks a lot like Chromanticore from Pioneer Masters, a set that had better fixing than this set, but this set has reasonable fixing. It's not, completely inconceivable that you could do this. This looks worth doing to me. You just really the lifelink flying haste combo of abilities tends to like be sick, and this also just works with all the spiders. There's not as many spiders as maybe you would think in the set, but there are enough that this is, I think, likely to do something with one of your creatures at a high enough frequency. I don't think that part of the card really matters that much. It's fine. It's additional upside, but really this is just kind of a 5 mana or a 5-color payoff that looks worth it to me. It looks pretty worth it. Dr. Octopus, Master Planner, 5 blue, black for a 4/8. Other villains you control get +2/+2. Your maximum hand size is 8. If you at the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 8 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. So this is a 7 mana 4/8. that draws you like 5 or 6 cards on the turn that you play it, and you make all your villains +2/+2. I mean, obviously you can just like deck yourself sometimes with this. Like that does happen, and it's actually not insignificant. But giving all of your other villains +2/+2, and there's a lot of villains in the set, I think is pretty good. Um, your opponent's like pretty miserable when you cast this. The reason it's not in tier 1, of course, is the fact that it's 7 mana, but it does seem pretty worth to me. Like you're never like you're getting like 6 for 1 if you ever cast it and your opponent kills it. It's like, well, I just 6 for 1'd you, so you probably lose. It does actually impact the board immediately. I don't know. I think there's just a lot to like here. It's just, mana cost is somewhat prohibitive. Gallant Citizen. 2 green-white hybrid for a 1/1. When it enters, draw a card. Yeah, we just saw this with the Frog in Bloomburrow a year ago, and this is color shifted to green-white. It is not going to be as good as that Frog was, even though I've rated it in basically the same tier. The reason for that is that it's harder to self-bounce this. There is web slinging, but how are you actually getting this tapped? Like, you're not really going to be able to attack with it. You're going to want to trade with this if your opponent does attack with it for web slinging reasons, so be advised on that. That is something to keep an eye out for. Yeah. Green Goblin Revenant. 3 black red for a 3/3 with flying and death touch. When it attacks, discard a card, then draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn. I put this in tier 5. I mean, it's a dang 5 mana 3/3 flyer. Like it's really bad. Like it's really bad. Um, does it like when it does the thing? Is it pretty good? Yeah, kinda. Does it ever do the thing? No, it just always dies. Like, what board state are you playing this on that it is ever going to survive? Like, it survives like maybe 15% of the time. Like, I just don't. I don't know. This is basically like exactly like the 2/2 for 4 with Death Touch in Final Fantasy that pinged your opponent. It's obviously like a little like on a different part of the axis in terms of what it's doing. Like this is trying to get you value and enable mayhem, but 5 mana mayhem enablers that just died at literal anything. I'm just off it. I'm just completely off it. If it surprises me, that's cool. But yeah, no, definitely not interested in this for now. Jackal Genius Geneticist. Blue green for a 1/1 with trample. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value equal to its power, copy that spell except the copy isn't legendary, then put a +1/+1 counter on Jackal. Yeah, I mean, so this is a very interesting card. I originally actually had it in tier 5, but I moved it up because I think there are enough ways to pump its power that you can copy stuff somewhat reliably, and your opponent is like kind of has to worry about it a little bit. It is a 2 mana 1/1. So that's really bad. Like that's not good. And it does require like when you're pumping its power, you're using a card to enable it. So you're not really getting a 2-for-1 anymore. You're just turning one of your spells into another spell. And maybe you're getting a discount, but you're not getting like necessarily value. Once you get this to 2 power though, then you may not need to enable it anymore. So you really only have to trigger this seems really like finicky and weird, and I've left room for it to be good, but I do kind of think that it's probably not super worth trying to make it work. Craven Proud Predator. 1 red green for a star 4 with vigilance. Its power is equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control. So it starts off as a 3 mana 3/4 with vigilance, which is fine, and then it gets larger. I don't really have a lot to say about this, so yeah. Craven the Hunter. 1 black green for a 4/3 with trample. Whenever a creature an opponent controls with the greatest power among creatures that player controls dies, draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on Craven the Hunter. Yeah, this is good. Good 3-drop. Has a relevant ability. Your opponent kind of has to kill it. Its rate is good. Doesn't really do anything when it ETBs, for the most part. Can make them not want to block. That's fine. Yeah, this is like your very stereotypical like good solid rare that doesn't work for every deck, has some color restriction, whatever. Mary Jane Watson. One and a green white hybrid for a 2/2. Whenever a spider you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So there just aren't enough spiders that I feel like this is like busted, and it is just a 2-mana 2/2. But I've put it in tier 3. A 2-mana 2/2 is just unplayable, right? That's just not a good card. But I've left room for this to be something that um is interesting. That there's something going on here. So I do like there are tokens that are spiders that help, but I don't know. It's a card that you're going to be scared of when your opponent plays it, and then like sometimes it's just going to do nothing. So that's kind of is what it is. Shock legal in the set as well. Mr. Negative. 5 black, white for a 5/5 with vigilance and lifelink. When it enters, you may exchange life totals with target opponent. If you lost life this way, draw that many cards. So this is really weird. I don't really think I mean this is just like a mirror universe, but on a 5/5 with lifelink. I mean it's pretty good. When you cast it, it's good, right? It has the 7-drop issue of okay, well it's 7 mana. Um, but so like let's I sort of did this exercise in my head of like, okay, let's walk through the scenarios where you actually cast this card, right? And something is happening. So, scenario 1, you've managed to sort of stabilize, you're at like somewhere between 5 and 10 life, your opponent's at 20, and you've been sort of the control player. I think this is sort of the most common scenario that this card is in play because you're probably behind if you have a 7-drop in your hand that you can't cast for 70% of the game. So you swap, you go up to 20, they go down to 5, like somewhere between 5 and 10, and then they now have to, like, you know what I mean? They're now on the defensive, they can't kill you next turn, and you probably are just going to win the game, right? I mean, if they have a removal spell forward immediately and then they just kill you, that obviously still happens, but I do think it can swing the game enough where, like, your opponent had the early pressure, and then now they don't anymore, and then this swings it back. Other scenario, it's sort of a slow game. You've been trading off resources. The life totals are fairly even. The really bad scenario is like, oh, uh I'm at 20, opponents at like 18. This does basically nothing. Like that's really bad. That is a bad scenario. Um, you're basically just gaining 2 life. Now you have a like 5/5 with vigilance and lifelink, which is fine, but I don't know. I am inclined to think this is more bad than it is good. But large lifelink creatures, just sort of in general, are pretty good, and so I'm leaving room for that as part of the equation. I like the art a lot, so there's that. Mob Lookout, 1 in a blue-black hybrid for an 0/3. When this creature enters, target creature you control connives. So connive is back from SNC, one of the very, very powerful mechanic in SNC. They seem to have learned their lesson by not stapling it to a 2/1, and instead it's on an 0/3. Villains are a type that matter. I think this is a card that you'll play in any like if you're playing a blue-black deck, this is a card that you want. How much do you want it in other decks? I don't know. It does work with other creatures, but then you're sitting with an 0/3 for 2. Pretty bad. Connive does work with Mayhem. I didn't actually think about that, but that is something to think about. Connive has got to be the best enabler for Mayhem, actually. Oh wow, wait, hold on. I just had this is a huge moment for me. That connive is the thing. Like that's actually the way to do this. Ah. The problem is I don't know. This card to me seems more role playery in terms of like I'm not first picking this ever in any pack, right? Like that's never happening, I don't think. Because it's not really like a 2-drop. It just isn't a 2-drop. Like you play this on turn 2, it's a 1/4 that looted. Or it's an O3 which is worse. Like an O3 is really really bad. Connive is strong though. Connive is very powerful. It's a powerful thing. Does let any creature do it, but then again, then you're just playing an O3, which is pretty terrible. I'm gonna leave it down here and be upset when it somehow is better than this. Morbius, the Living Vampire. Um, 2 blue black for a 3/1 with Flying Vigilance and Lifelink, and you can pay blue black to exile this card from your graveyard. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This is fantastic. It's a great thing to have in play. It gives you extra value from the graveyard. The reason it is not higher is that it is 4 mana and a little bit small, so it's not going to really stabilize every board state. The nitpicky difference between tier 2 and tier 1 is that tier 1 cards generally need to like take over the game completely, and this is like just really good and just gives you a lot of value. But yeah, like I don't know. There's not really a lot to hate about this card. Prowler Clawed Thief. 1 blue black for a 2/3 with menace. Whenever another villain you control enters, it connives. You know, there are honestly, I think there's more villains in this set than there are spiders. I haven't actually looked, and I'm not going to because that would require thinking, and I refuse. Um, this is so 3 mana 2/3 menace is like really really bad, like really really bad as like just a rate, like just as a creature. So you need villains. There are a lot of villains. I hate cards that don't block. Like I hate cards that you play your 3-drop and it's just on the battlefield and it's like, well, I was on the draw and now I can't block on turn 3. It's like that's just horrible. It's just so bad. I do think this I hate it, man. I hate it so much. I do. It's so much worse than this card. But it plays well with this card. So I will move it up to tier 3 and then regret that decision in the future. Alright, we did it. Pumpkin Bombardment. Red black hybrid for a sorcery has an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 2 colorless, and it deals 3 damage to target creature. So it is a sorcery speed interaction, but sorcery speed lightning bolts are sick. Now, this is the best mayhem enabler, I think, in the entire set. You could make arguments or whatever, but I think this is the best one. This is like the thing that you need. Like if you played with Madness with Lightning Axe, Lightning Axe was like so much better than everything else at enabling Madness. This is similarly as much better than everything else at enabling Mayhem. It's a lot worse than Lightning Axe, I want to be very clear, because it does not deal 5 damage. And it only hits creatures. I think Lightning Axe only hit creatures. I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't matter. This is just good. The thing is, though, it's still good. It's still good because what really matters is that you're getting the deal 3, which is enough to kill most things, and you're getting the Mayhem enabling. Why did they name it like? Why did they do the same like? Madness, Mayhem. It's almost the same ability. It's the word is very. It's like a synonym. Like I, it's I. Some would argue that there are design complications with Madness. I understand this. We really need to do almost exactly the same name and then almost exactly the same ability. I don't know if we needed to do that, but here we are. Rhino Barreling Brute. 3 red, red, green, green at 6/7 with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Whenever it attacks, if you've cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater this turn, draw a card. This weird 4 mana value or greater thing, I just don't. It's a classic red green ability, like classic red green thing where it's like, oh, this is just a thing that like is not something that people can really do because how many whatever. This card's great, right? 7 mana, 6/7, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and it draws a card every time, basically, because it's whatever. So this card is great in red-green. How good is red-green? Probably terrible, because it's red-green and it's almost always terrible. Uh, so is this card really good? Yes. Do I believe in this card? No, not at all. Uh, like I'm not like am I really first picking this? Like am I really ever doing that? Like ever? Is it ever happening? Because if it's ever happening, I have to move it up. I would hate myself if I did, but maybe. It doesn't have a reach. Do I care? Not really. Trample's good. Draws a card. Nah, I'm a Gruul hater. It's gonna prove it to me. Rhino's Rampage, red green hybrid for a sorcery. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It fights target creature an opponent controls. When excess damage is dealt to a creature an opponent controls this way, destroy up to one target non-creature artifact with mana value 3 or less. There is some number of these, but not a ton. This is mostly a +1/+0 fight spell that for red green hybrid, which is fine. It's a fine card. It generally isn't great. Uh, yeah. I don't know. There's really like not a whole lot. Like we just the fight spells or whatever. You can play them. They're not exciting, but they are interaction. So Scarlet Spider, Ben Riley. I'm going with Riley. I don't know. One red green for a 4/3 with web slinging for red green. It has trample. If it was cast using web slinging, it enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the mana value of the returned creature. So it's pretty big. Like you're gonna want to web sling this. If you don't, it's still fine. It's 3 mana 4/3 trample. That's a good card. How easy is web slinging to enable in red green? Not nearly as easy as it is in green white. Green white, like white specifically, is the best at enabling web slinging because it has the 1/1 flying. That's the best web slinging enabler I think in the whole set. So this is going to be not as easy to do the web slinging thing, but if you ever do it, you're thrilled. So yeah. Scarlet Spider Kane. Red black for a 2/1 with menace. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Mayhem for red black hybrid. So this is a nice 2-drop. It kind of does all the things that you want in your Mayhem deck. But does the deck kind of suck because you need all these enablers? Maybe. That's kind of how I feel about Mayhem in general, is like, well, I sure hope I have the exact mix of things in my deck to make it work and they're opened at the right frequency. Um it's good, right? Like 2 mana for 2/1 that you can make into, like with menace, that you can make into a 3/2 menace, but if you do it on turn 2, you don't get to get any value, and then you're down a card which isn't worth it. So in the late game you want to have, like, it's not really a 2-drop. But you can do like a mayhem chain with it where you like discard this enters, then you discard something else, and then whatever. Like that's the thing, and you get a 3/2. I want to believe in this, but my expectations are tempered. Shriek Tremblemaker. 2 red black for a 2/3. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may discard a card. When you do, target creature can't block this turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, it deals 1 damage to that player. Very similar to all of the other like cards that are mayhem enablers or payoffs. I'm kind of like, we're gonna wait and see on this, and I'm gonna be a little bit low because if it doesn't work, like if it in a deck without mayhem, this card is terrible. In a deck with mayhem stuff, it could be great, or it could just be kind of mid and that's I don't think I think the ceiling is mid for this card, so I'm not that excited about it. It is a good enabler, and if the deck is good, it will be playable. Silk Web Weaver. 2 green white for a 3/5 with web slinging for 1 green white. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 green and white human citizen creature token, and it has the ability of 3 green and white creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain vigilance until end of turn. It's a very powerful pump effect. That is as powerful as they really make them. And it helps you go wide. It has web slinging. It's like a very solid green white card. I don't have like a ton to say about it. Skyward Spider. Blue-white hybrid for a 2/2 with ward 2. It has flying as long as it's modified. So, I mean, I like this. There are a decent number of ways to modify things, and then once it's modified, it's like really hard to deal with. I don't know. I'm kind of in, but it is one of those things that's like, well, if you have the enablers, it's really good. But like, do you really want to pick it over the enablers? Not really. So, I'm not the most thrilled about it. But it's good. I think it's good. I kind of like it. I kind of like it as a 2-drop. I'm kind of in. I'm kind of in. I mean, I'm the freaking Azorius guy. Back at it again. Surely I like these. I like all the Azorius. Yeah, right. SPDR piloted by Penny. 3 white blue for a 4/4 with vigilance. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So this is like, I think you would take this over this, right? I think you would, because this is just strong. Also, you'll notice that I am recording this as soon as humanly possible, and this one's not on the official card gallery, so the picture sucks. But that's, you know what I mean. That's the sacrifice that has to be made to get the set review out as early as possible. Most of the pictures look good. This one, because you get the freaking white corners or whatever. I try to avoid having the white corners, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Anyways, this card is very strong. We just had Halia, which was a 3/3 that did essentially the same thing, but also, when it attacked, kept putting counters on things. This is mostly the same. Notably, it can trigger multiple times, so if you have multiple creatures but that are modified and hit your opponent, you draw multiple cards. That's a thing that is not usually true with these type of effects. I'm pretty in on this. I like this card quite a bit. Spider Manifestation, 1 red-green hybrid for 2/2 with reach. You can tap it to add red or green. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, untap this creature. That line of text is like almost meaningless, because when you cast something that's that big, it's very rare that you get to use the mana that effectively, but it can matter sometimes. It's not bad, I'll say that. It's not something that's actively bad. It you know, it's fine. I don't know. It's a fine 2-drop. It seems like a solid 2 in red and green. I'm not excited about it. Spider Girl Legacy Hero. Oh wait, anyway. Green white for a 2/2. During your turn, it has flying. When it leaves the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white human creature token. So this is the other really good web slinging enabler, right? So it's a 2-drop that basically has flying, and then when you web sling, you get a 1/1. Really good. Very, very good at web slinging. Does it do anything else? No, it does not. It really only does one thing. But the thing that it does it pretty well, and I do like it. The question is, do we want to move it up to tier 2? Like, is this a card that I'm like, I'm gonna get into the deck, I'm gonna first pick this and be in? Or am I like, I kind of need to have... I feel like this is kind of the rock that you build the deck around. I am gonna move it up. I think at the end of the day, it's just good, right? Like, you just kind of are reasonably happy with the idea that your two drop, like this is just a good two drop in general. Yes, you're committing to being on green white, but I don't know. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing out of green white. I'm excited. I don't know. I feel good. Spider-Man 2099, blue red for 2/3. You can't cast it during your first, second, or third turn of the game. Double strike vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you've played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than your hand, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Okay, wait, hold on. I need to reevaluate this. I have made a mistake. Give me a second. So this is really a mayhem thing. This wants mayhem. Because, like, it is not, the way it is worded is ambiguous in the English language. At the beginning of your end step, if you played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than your hand, that could be interpreted as if you play a land, this always deals 2 damage to any target, which I don't think is the case. It could also be interpreted as the land has to come from not in your hand, which I think is the actual interpretation, even though you could technically read it either way. I'm going to go try to look this up. Okay, so I'm going to still rate this pretty high. I'm assuming that it's on not 100% of the time, and it's only on like 50% of the time ish, whatever, who cares. It's still really good. Obviously, your. Like, how good is a 4 mana, 2/3 double strike vigilance? It's not amazing, but you get a 2 mana discount on the 4 mana. Like, this to me kind of reads like uh, Gigastorm Titan from the last set, where that card was 5 mana, but like on turn 4 it was 2 mana. And so if you have other 2 drops and cheap spells, this is going to be 2 mana on turn 4, and you get a 2/3 with double strike and vigilance, which is pretty good. And then sometimes you'll have the ability be on, and I will figure out how often that happens at some point. At some point in the future, I will figure out how often that happens, and it may or may not be better than this, but I do think it's good. Spider-Man India. 3 green white for a 4/4 with web slinging for 1 green white. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control against flying until end of turn. Yeah, I mean, I like this. It seems like a solid web slinging pay. Like, it's not really a payoff, but you know, you're getting a 3 mana 4/4 out of the deal. You get to move something back to your hand. Plays really well with the other uncommon. It's worse than the other uncommon. But yeah, I mean, you're getting a 3 mana 4/4 sometimes. Sometimes you're getting a 5 mana 4/4, and then whenever you cast creature spells, you just get to put like counters on things and give them flying. If you're not enabling the web slinging, this card is really bad because it is a 5 mana 4/4. That's pretty bad. It's not good. So I guess how easy. I should actually move this down then. Hold on, I'm going to do that. The thing is, it just is like a 5 mana 4/4 sometimes, and that's inexcusable. That's it's a sin that's unforgivable in my eyes. Spider Woman, Stunning Savior. 1 blue white hybrid for a 2/2 with flying. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter tapped. Yeah, I mean, this is just good, right? 2 mana 2/2 flying that makes your opponent's life a little bit more annoying, and also plays well with web slinging, and also just plays well with being modified. Very good. Very good 2-drop. The Spot, Living Portal. 3 black white for a 4/4. When it enters, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent card and up to 1 target non-land permanent card from a graveyard. When it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. If you do, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. Zah. So, you can do many different things with this. You can get something back from your graveyard eventually. You can like banish or priest something. You can just get rid of your own thing and get value with it when it dies. Lots of good stuff. So, really like it. Don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Very strong. Sun Spider, Nimble Weber. 3 blue-white hybrid for a 3/2 that has flying during your turn. When it enters, search your library for an aura or equipment card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So, I do believe that there are going to be enough auras / equipments for this to be really good. And if you have, like, this kind of reminds me of, it's not quite as good as the guy from Ether Drift, the tutored vehicles that were expensive. This, I'm just gonna go look. I'm just gonna go look. Hold on. So I looked into it. There is one bad-ish common that this works with, and then there's this card kind of scales with how good the stuff you have that it finds are, so it is going to be very deck dependent. I've moved it down for that reason. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you have like this card, if you have one of the busted cards, which there's several, like there's 3 or 4 like insane ores and equipments in the set, and if you have one of those, this card's just really good. So yeah, Superior Spiderman. 2 blue black for a 4/4 with Mind Swap. You may have it enter as a copy of any creature in a graveyard except it's Super Spiderman, and it has a 4/4. And it's a 4/4 in addition to its other types when you do exile that card. So you can make this into like a 4/4 version of something. That's fine. It's kind of like a diff- different clone effect. I don't know. I'm not that jazzed about this. It seems fine to me, though. I'm not super excited. But you can get like flying on it or something else. Uh, you probably will have something decent. I should, but that's nothing sometimes. It's just a 4/4 for 4, which is already not that good. It's 2 colors. It's probably just good though, because sometimes you just get a 4/4 flyer for 4. Or just any ability. Yeah. Alright, I convinced myself. Symbiote Spider-Man. 2 blue black hybrid for a 2/4. When it deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. You can pay 2 blue black to exile it from your graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control. It gains this card's other abilities, activate only as a sorcery. Yeah, this looks great to me, right? I mean, 3 mana 2/4. It's a upgraded Scroll Thief that turns something else into a Scroll Thief from your graveyard when you have a good attack. Just really good. It's a really good set of abilities. There's actually not that much exile removal in the set, from what I've seen. There's a lot of destroy. There's not that much exile removal, so it's gonna be tough to get rid of this. And maybe I should just move it into tier 1 for flexibility reasons. It's bigger than like every Scroll Thief ever. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. No, am I though? I actually no, I am. I am gonna do it. I'm taking a stand. That's what's happening today. Ultimate Green Goblin 1, Red Black Hybrid 1, or Red Black Hybrid 5/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token. And you can Mayhem for 2 Red Black Hybrid, which is kind of weird. So it's a 3 mana 5/4, but then on the beginning of your next turn, you have to discard a card to make a treasure token. Notably, the Mayhem does not work like Madness in the sense that timing restrictions still apply. So you can't just discard a creature and then cast it unless it has flash. So I don't know. I'm not that excited about this. You're mostly gonna have to discard a card. Your opponent can just kill it. It's just a 5/4. I mean, I don't know. Like it's large, right? It's 3 mana 5/4, but then like you don't get to attack with it until your opponent is. I guess you do get something out of discarding. You get a treasure token, right? That is something. You get like a thing out of like whatever. It's like it's one of those like you'd like it to be not during your upkeep, but is a 3 mana 5/4 that entices me. The 3 mana 5/4 of it all entices me. But having to discard, you get a treasure. Get a treasure. Need instant speed mayhem stuff though. Oh no, you can do it when you discarded it this turn. I'm being stupid, alright? I'm gonna move this up. I literally was just saying nonsense for 5 minutes. That's cool. So I'm just being dumb. That's fine. Um. So yeah. Okay, there we go. All right. Guy figures out. Guy finally, like 2/3 of the way through the thing, figures out how to read text on cards. Okay. Anyway, Vulture, Scheming Scavenger, 5 blue black hybrid for a 4/6 with flying. When it attacks other villains you control, gain flying until end of turn. I just don't know why. Like I'm just not on the market for a 6 and a 4/6 flyer. I don't think. I think I'm pretty off it. Like yeah, it's kind of big. And it's a threatening. It's a villain. That's a type that matters. Does. It just dies to like removal, man. And when stuff dies to like removal, there's not that. I don't think there's really that many bounce spells in this set. So maybe. I don't know. I'm not super excited about 6 mana 4/6 flyer. Tier 5 is probably a bit harsh though, because the rate isn't the worst. But it is bad though. I'm just gonna leave it down here and probably just be wrong, and that's okay with me. Web Warriors. 4 green, white hybrid for 4/3. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. I mean, we just had this with the greenhouse that was like the worst card ever of all time. So Ridgescale Tusker is not what it once was. This is also not Ridgescale Tusker because it is not a 5/5. Um, but it's easier to cast, and it'll be fine. I think this will be fine, but not exciting. Basically, it's kind of my take on it. And the last multicolored card, Wraith Viscous, Vicious. I don't know, dude. Why am I trying to pronounce words? Vigilante 1 blue white for a 1/1 with double strike, and it can't be blocked. So I kind of hate these type of cards. Like it's just again we've sort of been over it. The hey, this thing if it survives does stuff, but like I mean this thing dies to shock. Uh, yeah, it's great when you modify it. Cool. It's sick with the equipment, the rare equipment. Amazing, but who cares? Uh, yeah, I'm just not. Like, you just don't need this. Don't need to prioritize this. It's just too fragile. And that's it. That's it for the multicolor cards. If you enjoyed, please stick around. There will be other set review content for this set and other sets going forward. And I'll see you in the next one.